The observation deck of the Galactic Medical Station hummed, with the soft whisper of recycled air as ambassador. Thrixall watched the human doctor through the reinforced viewport. Dr. John. Harrison knelt beside a wounded Krathic juvenile, his movements slow and deliberate. The creature, all scales and teeth and instinctual aggression, hissed at him, baring fangs still stained with fresh blood. Behind them, Matilda Chen sat on a medical bench, her left forearm wrapped in a makeshift tourniquet. Blood seeped through the white fabric in dark, spreading patches. She hadn't made a sound since the attack. "Your colleague requires immediate attention," Thrixall said through the intercom, his translator rendering his clicks and whistles into standard galactic common. "The Krathic venom will cause necrosis within the hour." John didn't look up. He was examining the cub's mouth with a penlight, his other hand gently restraining the creature's snapping jaws with practiced ease. "Matilda's stable," John replied calmly. "I gave her the anti-venom shot already. She's got time. Time that diminishes with every passing moment." Thrixall's crest flared orange with agitation. In his 40 cycles as a station administrator, he had never witnessed such bizarre human behavior. The creature attacked her without provocation. "The cub's infected," John said, finally glancing up. His eyes were clear, focused. "Look at the gum inflammation, the discharge. Poor thing's probably been in agony for days. That's why it lashed out." Matilda shifted on the bench, cradling her injured arm. "He's right," she said, her voice tight with pain but steady. It wasn't aggression. It was fear. Thrixall's secondary eyelids blinked in confusion. The Krathic were apex predators on their homeworld, creatures so dangerous that most species gave their vessels wide berth in interstellar space. Their young were taught to hunt before they could walk upright. And yet these humans, these soft, fragile beings, spoke of the cub with something that sounded disturbingly like compassion. John returned his attention to the creature, carefully prying its mouth open wider. The cub writhed, but its movements were weak, feverish. "There," he murmured, pointing his light at a fractured fang near the back of the jaw. Broken tooth abscess forming at the root. "Matilda, can you pull up the Krathic dental database on your tablet?" "On it," she said, reaching for the device with her good hand. Her fingers moved across the screen with mechanical efficiency, as if her other arm wasn't still dripping crimson onto the sterile floor. "This is madness," Thrixall muttered. "I am calling security to remove the creature and escort you both to proper medical care." "Don't." The word came from Matilda, sharp as a scalpel. She looked up, meeting Thrixall's compound eyes through the viewport. "Ambassador, that cub is somebody's child. Probably got separated from its clutch during the refugee convoy last week. It's sick, scared, and in pain. What would you have us do? Let it suffer?" "It injured you." "Because we failed it first," John interjected. He had produced a small surgical kit from his bag and was preparing an injection. "Every species on this station has a right to medical care. That was in the charter we all signed, wasn't it? Even the ones with big teeth." The cub snarled as John administered a sedative, but within moments its struggling ceased. Its breathing slowed, steadied. John worked quickly after that, his hands moving with the surety of someone who had performed this procedure 1,000 times, though never on a creature designed by evolution to tear flesh from bone. "Matilda, I need you to monitor its vitals," John said without looking away from his work. She stood swaying slightly and moved to his side. Her injured arm hung limp, but her good hand danced across a portable scanner, reading out numbers in a calm, clinical tone. Thrixall watched in growing amazement as the two humans worked in perfect synchronization, the wounded and the healer, both putting the creature's welfare before their own safety. John extracted the broken fang with careful precision, drained the abscess and irrigated the wound with antiseptic. The cub twitched in its sedated sleep but didn't wake. When he finally sat back on his heels, nearly 20 minutes had passed. "Okay," he said, peeling off his gloves. "Now let's get you fixed up." Matilda smiled, actually smiled, despite her pallor. "Took you long enough?" "You're the one who taught me triage," John replied, guiding her back to the medical bench. "Patient in critical condition gets priority." He paused, his expression softening. "Even if that patient is the reason you're hurt." As John cleaned and sutured Matilda's wounds, Thrixall descended from the observation deck. He found himself drawn to the sleeping cub, now breathing peacefully. Its pain finally eased. The humans had risked infection, permanent injury, even death, for what? A creature that would likely never remember their kindness, that might attack them again when it woke. I do not understand your species, Thrixall admitted aloud. John looked up from his work, needle and thread in hand. What's not to understand? Something was hurting. We stopped the hurt, but it harmed her first. Yeah. John tied off a stitch with practiced efficiency, but hurt things lash out. Doesn't mean they don't deserve help. Matilda caught Thrixall's gaze. We have a saying on Earth, Ambassador. Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. That goes double in space. The ambassador watched as John finished bandaging Matilda's arm, as she thanked him with quiet dignity, as they both turned to check on the sleeping cub one final time before calling for its relocation to proper xenobiological care. In that moment, Thrixall understood why humanity had been invited to join the Galactic Council despite their relative youth among the stars. It wasn't their technology or their military might or their clever diplomacy. It was this: the instinct to heal before seeking revenge, to show mercy to those who had shown them none, to see suffering, even in teeth and claws, and choose compassion. Humanity, he realized, was terrifying not because they were warriors, but because they were caregivers, and perhaps that was the most dangerous thing of all.